Good evening. I'm Don Jensen, chair of Washington Filmworks. We've mostly all met before for many years, but we're here tonight after a most eventful year for Washington Filmworks and for the film industry in the state. As you probably already know, after trying for 15 years, we got the legislature to agree to increase our funding this year to incentivize film production in the state. And we were able to go from $3 million a year to $15 million a year, which is a big number and a big change. And along with that come many new programs that we're going to be doing and the ability to incentivize all kinds of different production this year. So it's an exciting thing. And it's due to the hard work of everybody in the community, especially the people who turned out to help lobby members of the legislature, either in person or online. And it all worked. We did many years of telling them our story, and indeed, it finally paid off. So I'd like you to all hear about it. We're going to go to Amy Lillard in her famous living room, and we'll hear about it this evening.
Hello there, and welcome, as Don Jensen said, to my living room. Looks a little different. It's a little, exciting here with the holidays and the fake fire. But thank you for being here. By the way, we're seeing you on the chat too, so drop your hellos and your good tidings in there too. But I am Amy Lillard. I am the executive director of Washington Filmworks and WhipSmart. And what just an incredible year for the film industry. So many good things, not only at Washington Filmworks, but with our partners across the state. And as Dawn said, none of this would be possible without you, the film industry, and all of your work and all of your tireless efforts and all of your passion for this industry. So with that said, I am going to jump right in because we have a lot packed into this evening and this conversation. First and foremost, the board has been very, very busy behind the scenes and has actually approved 3 new initiatives that we're going to talk about tonight, including 2 that are focused very specifically on our local emerging filmmakers, which we're very excited about. We're also going to debut some new content, including our new trailer, which I hope you stay away. No, I hope you don't stay away. I hope you stay until the very end because that's when we're going to debut our new trailer. And finally, we're going to meet some new board and staff members. So lots going on tonight. Glad that you're here. Also wanted to mention that to help us get into the holiday spirit, we had Eric, one of the bartenders from the W Seattle. He's been there for 11 years, so you probably might have seen him if you've been there. So the W, as you may know, is the entertainment industry hotel of choice in town. And they were kind enough to have a signature cocktail made for us. It's called the Naughty List, which seems so appropriate because I know many of you can be naughty, but there's also a mocktail too, which is the nice list. So fall where you may. But we're going to start with Eric from the W mixing his famous Naughty List cocktail.
Hey, my name is Eric, and I've been a bartender here at the W Seattle for 11 years now. I'm going to show you how to make a delicious holiday cocktail called the Naughty List. So I have peanut butter whiskey, which is a screwball. I've got butterscotch schnapps, half and half, and cinnamon. So we're going to start off by doing 1.75 ounces of the screwball, 0.5 ounces of the butterscotch schnapps, 1 ounce of the half and half, a little dash of cinnamon, and then we'll shake. Take our coupe glass and we'll double strain it. Another little dash of cinnamon, and you've got your Naughty List cocktail. And for those of you not drinking this holiday, we do have a delicious mocktail available. It's muddled blueberries, muddled pomegranate juice, cranberry juice, mint, and then topped with a little bit of soda. Delicious mocktail if you're not doing the drinking, and have a happy holiday.
Happy holidays from Washington Filmworks. Cheers.
Shout out to the board there in the lobby of the W Seattle, and thanks to our friends there Greg, Ciara, Zach, and Eric, who hosted us this weekend when we did a lot of the work you're going to hear about tonight. And they made us feel right at home. So as I alluded to earlier, we have new board members, which it is my pleasure to introduce to you tonight. I'm going to start with Jessica Stoller. She is the Director of Marketing and Public Relations for the Leavenworth Chamber of Commerce. That's a great fancy title, but we know her as our longtime film liaison in the area, and she happens also to be the founder, or one of the founders, of the Sea to Summit Film Festival, which is new to Leavenworth. In addition, we're going to introduce Tony Dupay. He is a producer and SAG-AFTRA actor with more than 130 credits to his name. So seasoned and talented for sure. And he also happens to be inspiring young minds, or maybe not so young minds, upcoming and emerging film minds as the chair of the Film and Theater Department at the Shoreline Community College. And I'm delighted to welcome them both. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi,
Okay.
thanks for having us.
Okay, so some of you are not in Washington. Tony, share where you're at.
I'm down in Los Angeles right now, and I was saying it's 64 degrees today and sunny.
That is so mean. Okay, so Jessica, contrast that for us. Go ahead.
I'm in Christmastown, USA, and it's currently snowing again, and it's absolutely beautiful and cold all Christmas, all the time.
It's kind of busy there right now, huh?
It is busy here. Yeah, this is our busiest season, December, and it's really fun. Everyone's having a great time. The lights are gorgeous, and you can always live stream, and we have wonderful live cameras. So there's a hint for you.
There's a hint for you. So I want to start just by, we are so lucky to have so many talented people on the board, but I am just dying to know, why you said yes to this opportunity, and what perspective do you as individuals bring to the board? And I'm going to start with Tony on that one.
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, a lot of it was curiosity starting out and just wanting to know how it works. And then as I learned more, I'm very excited about the Emerging Filmmakers Program. And that really excites me, is just from being in education for the past 25 years. I love the idea of having people go through a program of learning before funding, before filming. And so I'm very excited about that. Whatever it becomes, however it develops, I'd like to be a part of that. So that's a big thing. And then the other thing too was finding more places to shoot outside of King County in rural. Like we were talking about that too, as far as rural locations, and finding those smaller stories that could be told in smaller towns. And that really excites me. So those are the two things among many, but those are the two standouts right there.
Excellent. I'm going to pause for 1 second, let the team know behind the scenes that we're being spammed. Someone might want to take care of that in the chat. So, Jessica, what about you? What made you say yes to this crazy thing that we do?
Well, I've had a great working relationship with Washington Filmworks for many years. I've been doing this particular job for about 14 years. We never really had title film liaison. I was just the media gal you contact when you do a production Leavenworth. So, now that's an official role. One of the things I get to do, probably my favorite thing to do. I think I said yes, not because I didn't have anything to do. I'm certainly busy, but this organization is doing amazing things. This board is dynamic and diverse, and you have great new funding, which I know you're going to be talking about, but new programs. And like Tony was talking about, the World Economic Development Program, I think as a film liaison, I can help. And in a rural community, I think I can bring some experience helping people develop these programs in rural areas. Washington State has everything you need to film here. We have every season, we have every environment, we have everything, small towns, undiscovered gems. And I'm really looking forward to being a part of all these efforts.
By the way, you two are just setting us up for success in a little bit. So thank you for that. That was just so well played, and we didn't even plan that. So I'm going to pivot a bit. Both of you are affiliated with the film industry. in different with different perspectives and in different ways. Tony, you're mostly in front of the camera. I know you produce too. And then Jessica, you work behind the scenes with projects that come into Leavenworth. Jessica, can you give some insight into, being outside of the production center and what your work looks like when a film, like as a film liaison, but when a film comes to town, like what do you do? Like what is your role?
Sure. Generally, somebody, a production company will reach out either to the city of Leavenworth or the Chamber of Commerce, and I would be the first point of contact, helping navigate through the permitting process. Every community has a different process, some more complicated than others. We have built ours over the years as the need increased, certainly. I connect them with, it could be locations. You know the area and they know what they're kind of looking for. So helping them with that. Talent, utilizing our wonderful locals, staff set needs. I've done a Christmas movie where they needed to find a light up reindeer. I had one in my garage. I mean, just those kind of things. So utilizing all the assets that we have to make it easier for them to film, and we're just film friendly. So that's one of the major things that I do.
What else do you have in your garage besides a light up reindeer?
If I don't have it, I might know someone that does have it. So I have heard, I just want them to use it locally, purchase locally, small business. That's, really important to us. The economic boost that it brings to Leavenworth is really important. And, I get to use these wonderful final pieces to market Leavenworth, which is really my job. So it's not hard to sell it. It's something that, it's a beautiful place, but we've got lots of beautiful places. So I like to do that part of it.
Excellent. Excellent. Tony, welcome back. I'm glad you plugged in. We don't want to lose you. You're a very important part of this equation tonight. So you've acted in many projects, many of which were also Washington Filmworks funded, which we love. But do you have a favorite Washington film that you've been in? And if so, what was so great about that particular experience?
Yeah, it's a really hard question. And I thought about that a lot. I guess maybe The Off Hours comes to mind first, just because it felt like a beginning in some ways for a lot that was going on. And the way that we shot it and the labor of love that went on in the producing of that film. And then I would say probably maybe the second favorite is the film that I did with my sons, The Lemonheads, because that was something that we got to do together, and to see them as young artists direct and write something that came from them. And we shot in rural Washington up in Mount Rainier in that area. So it was fun. It was during January, so it was wet and rainy and very trying, but there was just so much love. Both those projects just had so much love and care for what was going on. And I think both showed off on the screen really well. So those come to mind, but there's a lot, but those are probably the first two, I think, for sentimental favorites.
One of the things that I love that you kind of referenced, like it was like the beginning of something with the off hours and things like that. And, I really feel like a lot of the programs that we're launching now is really, we're going to see like the net, like Megan is so successful and Lacey is like, we've like all these wonderful people kind of came out of that era. And I feel like we're going to like launch another group out of like some of the work we're doing. So that's really exciting. And hi, Megan and Janessa, seeing you on the chat. So I want to move to you both have side gigs is what I'm calling them in this particular conversation. Jessica, I mentioned in your introduction that about the Sea to Summit Film Festival. Can you talk about that and why you wanted to, be a founder, and tell us about like what happened there this year?
It's actually the Summit to Sea Film Festival. It was called the Sea to Sea to Summit. We changed it, being mountain to ocean. So Troy, our executive director, came from San Francisco, one of his last jobs, and worked really closely with the International Ocean Film Festival. If you've heard of that, I'm sure you have. And we decided to be a part of their traveling program. And if you're not familiar with the International Ocean Film Festival, they showcase acclaimed ocean themed films from all over the world, small independent production that really educate and encourage active participation and conservation. And they do entertain as well. And so we curated quite a few of these small independent films. We also curated films from the Wild and Scenic Film Festival. And then we programmed an entire weekend at the Snowy Owl Theater at the Icicle Creek Center for the Arts campus. If you've never been out there, it's absolutely beautiful on the Sleeping Lady property. And their work in arts and environmental conservation is just the perfect partnership for this festival and with the Chamber of Commerce. And so we had our first year this year, and it went really well. And we are moving forward and looking forward to this next year.
Okay, so I'm so sorry. What did you change the festival name to?
Well, it's called the Summit to Sea Film Festival instead of
Oh,
the Sea to Summit. Yeah,
well, it's
that's
my
really the name.
side
Yeah.
bias, I suppose, so sorry about
Yeah.
that. So I was
Yeah,
close.
no worries. No worries.
So, Tony, kind of also like we had some very passionate conversations when you were taking some young people to a set that I was on. And you talked so passionately about mentorships, and that's part of what you want to do in this phase of your career. So, what are you doing around that in general?
Well, I think it's a big question that's asked a lot from young actors is how do I get started? And my response is create your own opportunities and just find community or create community and learn as much as you can about the craft. And so you can be, and it's not a new model. I mean, actors have been doing that forever anyway, but that's something that I feel is like really important to pass on is that you are not at the whim of someone else's work. You can find your own group to create your own work and start doing that right away, especially with the way technology is now. It's easier than it's ever been. So that's my big advice is create your own opportunities for yourself.
Our time is almost up, but I do want to ask you both. Jessica, do you want to shout out any particular holiday film? Like you've had so many film in Leavenworth, and is there one that you like love?
I've had several projects during the holidays. Obviously, we have the perfect backdrop. We've done all the work, and so it is absolutely perfect for these production companies. But I guess it was back in 2012. We did a movie. They did a movie here called Switchmas. It was called something else. Ira Finkelstein's Christmas, right?
That is
Tony.
beautiful. Can I just pause and
Yeah.
give a shout out to Sue Corcoran and Susan LaSalle? And that is
Yes.
a logo. I love
Von
Leavenworth
Piglet.
logo.
Yes,
Wow.
they were fantastic. Yes, and we love that. That was actually my very big movie, even though it was small production. And I just remember all these pieces to, and everything relying on snow falling. And it was, when you do things in early December, or anything with weather, we know it's a gamble. But it would snow. We say no one shovel anything, leave it there, they need it. So that was a great experience. And then of course last December we had a Lifetime Christmas movie filmed here, entirely here almost. It was predominantly filmed here and aired last week on Lifetime, called Cloudy with a Chance of Christmas. It was a fantastic small production, and they worked with really great to work out. Yeah,
And it is airing right now on
those
Lifetime.
certainly do stand out for me.
Am I remembering correctly too, Jessica, that they play Leavenworth for Leavenworth? They talk like go into a shop and it's a Leavenworth shop, and right? Like they talk like they use the actual.
Yeah, they didn't change anything. They taught history. It was interesting. It was going to be called Christmas in Leavenworth, and then they changed it, but it really was in Leavenworth. So yeah, we aired it in one of the locations that the final scene. So we had about 400 people come. We did it, a live stream. So it was fun.
So Tony, I'm going to ask you one of my favorite questions that I ask people all the time, and I love it. So no pressure, but what movie can you watch over and over and over again?
It's so funny. I just watched it last night. Punch Drunk Love. I know. That and In the Heat of the Night are probably my two favorite movies that I could watch over and over and over again. But for some reason,
go ahead.
I would say for some reason, Punch Drunk Love just hits a vein. It's just like, it's such a wonderful love story. And I don't know, it's just the way it's shot and the imagination behind it too. And it's just so pure. And then In the Heat of the Night was my mom, she snuck me into a drive-in in the back seat underneath blankets. She wanted to see it. And it was, I think at that time I wasn't able to get into it because I was very young. And then she got me up right away and I watched it. So it's a very fond memory of watching a movie with my mom. And that movie just still resonates with me. And Sidney Poitier is probably one of my favorite actors of all time. So yeah, those are the two that come to mind right away.
So good. Well, I just want to thank you for joining us at this very exciting time at Washington Filmworks. We're really excited to have you on board, and we are looking forward. We got you for 4 years. There you go. I'll let you go back to your evenings. Thanks for being here with us. And
Thank you so much.
okay.
Thank
Have fun
you.
at TED. Okay, bye. So grateful for them and for the board. They really are working so hard behind the scenes. But we're gonna get down to business. Actually, we're gonna get to the quote unquote breaking news section, as we're gonna call it. We are announcing 3 new programs, 2 of which are local, which I said. And I'm going to dive in with my partner in crime, Julie Damon. So our Director of Operations and Finance. Welcome, Julie Damon.
Hello, hello. I'm
You
here with yes, I'm here with my naughty drink. I made my naughty drink.
Well, cheers to that. I'm here with my white wine. There we go. Whoops, whoops.
Where's the camera? Where's it? Tink, tink. All right.
Drink?
It's delicious. It's amazing. Who would have thought that that was a possibility? But it is so good. I love it.
Peanut butter bourbon. I never would have guessed.
You know, it's delicious.
Mm-hmm. Thanks to the W again. So, okay, guess what? It's time to talk money, Damon. Mm-hmm.
My favorite subject.
It is your favorite subject. I know it's your favorite subject. Nobody at Washington Filmworks knows more about dollars than our Queen of Finance, Julie Damon. So I have asked her to launch our conversation tonight about and talk about the enhanced rural incentive.
I would love to talk about the enhanced rural incentive. Amy, did you know that 30 out of 39 counties are considered rural in Washington state?
I'd heard somewhere about that. Yeah.
It's true. So there's a lot of opportunity. And our intention with this program is to make sure that all of Washington has the opportunity to experience the economic benefits of motion picture production. So we spent the past couple months doing a lot of research, and we've looked what other states have to offer. We've talked to our neighboring film offices, and, we've talked to line producers. And what we learned was that locations can be gorgeous, but really filming in a rural community needs to make financial sense. Because, there are costs can add up when you're filming in a rural community, and things like travel, housing, per diem, which are great for our economy. They can push those production budgets up. So what is this enhancement? And it is here to encourage that filming. If a project films at least 50% of their production schedules in one of those 30 counties, they are eligible for an additional 10% of funding assistance on their total qualified Washington spend on the project.
Qualified spend.
Total qualified, not just what they're spending in the rural jurisdiction, their whole qualified budget. So now I know that I use some jargony words there about like funding assistance and total qualified spend. So I imagine there's going to be some questions around that for people who aren't as familiar with our program. We're working on updating those guidelines and criteria that are going to have all the details about what that means. And that's going to take us a little time to write, though. So those will be available in March.
By the way, it'll take us time to write, but our lawyers longer to look at it.
No truer words. No truer words. So we're committed to filming in these rural jurisdictions. We think that this enhancement, along with the work of Sherry Wyatt, who is our new Director of Rural Economic Development, and Vicki Berglund Davenport, who is, such a stalwart in the film office, that we'll be able to drive work to these scenic rural areas, not only showcasing the beauty of our state, but putting money in those main street stores and businesses and creating more jobs for our cast and crew. So it's very exciting work.
And while it is a very, it's a really lucrative bump, and I think it's really going to work. I mean, there's so many amazing locations like to push work out. And we're excited about the work of, Vicki and Sherry too. Like, I think it's like I think the real possibilities there.
Absolutely. And we're going to hear a little bit more from Vicki and Sherry later. But as you mentioned, starting off here, that this was not the only thing that was recently greenlit. We have a couple local filmmaker initiatives. And Amy, do you want to talk about that Emerge program that Tony was so excited about?
Yeah. The Emerge program is big, and it's really exciting. And, I've been doing this job so long, and I'm just so freaking excited about it. So here's what it is. So bear with me. It's weedy, but it's worth listening to. So here it is. Actually, first I'm going to start by saying, for those of you, we went around the state to talk to folks. We had 4 film organizations do roundtables with us. Netzi Chirongo and Lacey Levitt Gray were rock stars in helping us develop this. And I want you to know what we're talking about tonight is a direct result of what you told us. And I really do hope that you feel seen and heard, because this whole thing that we're about to talk about, which is a gigantic new program, is exactly what you said that you needed. So here we go. The Emerge program is our first workforce development initiative for above the line folks. Sorry about that. It is for local filmmakers, and it's really about helping filmmakers in Washington state filmmakers develop meaningful networks to be better business people and to find financing, right? Like, isn't that like the triple threat right there? In our inaugural year, we are focusing on narrative projects, but documentary filmmakers, we see you. We're coming at you. We're just going to do narrative first. Although we got something for you in a little bit. We're going to talk, you get something out of this whole new thing, but we're going to do this program for documentary filmmakers after we do the narrative one. The first part of the Emerge program is a 3-month educational intensive. We are going to invite 30 participants who are directors and producers to, learn more about the business of film, budgeting, pitching, financing, marketing, all of that. Those 30 people will then be eligible to apply for a 7-month mentorship. And that mentorship will be producer, director teams. So again, if you're one of the 30 in the educational component, you can then apply for this mentorship program as a director producer team. I always say writer. I'm so sorry.
You got it. Director producer.
I know, right? So the goal is to workshop a very specific narrative project. And so both of the producers and directors must be local. And you will receive as if we're going to deliver mentors to your doorstep, but you will work with 2 mentors. One that is local, who's going to talk to you about, locations, crew, the ins and outs of working in Washington. And then another production center mentor, most likely out of New York, LA, Georgia, something like that, who are going to focus on the bigger picture things, financing and distribution, for example. There's lots of money things involved, not to mention things like cold hard cash in pre-production to help you pay for the things that you need to pay for as you're starting to go out for financing. And then you will automatically be approved. The people in the mentorship program will automatically be approved for our small budget production funding. And Julie, by the way, let's just pause there. Julie's going to talk about the small budget production. This is our answer to the Sundance Lab, right? We see the people coming through this program as the next generation of filmmakers, right? This is the future of film. One of the programs, there's so many programs that are going to contribute to that, but like, we want this to be a game changer. We want to continue our reputation of having incredible, independent voices and projects coming out of here. So that's happening. We're really excited about it. But part of that is when you're in the mentorship program, you automatically get this small budget production funding. And Julie, why don't you chat about that?
So we heard how hard it is for to raise money for, especially for that first or second project, that first or second feature film. So the small budget production fund allows Washington Filmworks to be first money in. As you said, the graduates, alumni of our mentorship program are already into this program, but we know that there's probably some filmmakers out there who are ready to apply that don't feel like they need to go through this education and mentorship program. So we're going to open an application window for small budget projects that are creatively driven by Washingtonians. What does that mean? Well, it means that the projects need to have a budget between $25,000 and $1 million. 2 of the following positions need to be Washington residents. So you need 2 of either writer, director, producer, or lead cast. There's your writer for you, Amy. And the exciting part is that any kind of motion picture content is eligible. You mentioned that this education portion and the mentorship portion for this first cycle is going to be narrative. Right now, when we open this application window, it's for any kind of motion picture project. VR, as you said, documentaries, we see you. And then producers or directors are going to be able to apply, and you can apply as many times as you want, but we're going to limit to that you can only be approved and be funded once. And that's because we really want this program to be a stepping stone, being able to get you started, get this project done, and then continue to grow in our industry. So once you're approved, we're going to hold those funds in reserve for 6 months while you continue to fundraise and you make that project a reality. It's a really great opportunity. But once again, I've said it before, there's going to be these pesky guidelines and criteria. I feel like anybody who's ever talked to me, like I'm the annoying rules person. So I'm just going to own it and say, yes, we're going to have to draft more guidelines and criteria that is going to go to more lawyers. But our goal is to premiere this information in the spring, and then we will have the board approve and review these projects quarterly.
Mm-hmm. One side note, again, this is all of this like great work is coming out of what we heard from you in community. And we also heard, we want to acknowledge that there are a lot of you making projects under $25,000, and we see you too. We have some things we got to take care of, but we're going to have that conversation. Like, how do we better support you as you are literally making the micro budget stuff? We see you and we're thinking about you. We just have some things that we have to attend to that are in the law. So there you go.
All right, Amy, you mentioned the law. So there's one more enhanced incentive that we haven't talked about yet, which is the enhanced incentive for stories from, as the law puts it, stories of those from marginalized communities. Do you want to talk about that for a minute?
I do. It's noticeably missing from this conversation tonight, but behind the scenes, we are working diligently on this. And so, as Julie had said, we use the phrase incentives for telling the stories of historically underrepresented groups. It's more empowering for, that group in general. And so, however, the law says marginalized communities that we are allowed to give an additional 10% incentive dollars to projects that are telling the story of marginalized communities. The interesting part is there's no state definition for marginalized communities. So there's that. And that is part. And we've looked. I mean, we have looked just about everywhere. However, it's really important because the definition impacts so much of this new work that we're doing. So that's workforce development, that is the work of the equity committee, that is this, of course, enhanced incentive. And so, I will remind the community as well, we are the first incentive in the country to do this kind of content in like enhancement. And so it's nice to be leading the country in this way. We're really proud of that, but we're being very thoughtful, and I'm working a lot with our co-chairs of our equity committee. They're being very intentional and very thoughtful about this process, and so that is why you're not hearing about that particular incentive today. With that said, Malcolm and Myron have been so much fun to work with, and they are our co-equity chairs. And we thought it would be a great idea to bring them into this evening and have them share in their own words what they've been up to.
I'm Malcolm Pellis. I live in Spokane, Washington. I'm a screenwriting professor at Eastern Washington University. I said yes to being an equity chair because it was important for me to be a part of change. And as a equity co-chair with Myron, we have the opportunity to not only expand the work, kind of the workforce in the film industry, but also make it equitable and give communities that are underrepresented an opportunity to be a part of this film industry.
And I'm Myron Partman. I am a local. I'm a local. I was born here, born and raised in Seattle, and got involved in audio production early in my life, and started to be an audio engineer, and then that just sort of naturally went into the film business for me, and so I do audio. Now I just do boom work, but I do camera work now. That's really my profession right now. And my perspective is basically from a crew level, from below the line, and also understanding that equity is so important in film, and diversity is important. We've learned a lot. We have learned a lot. One of the things that we have learned is how serious Washington Filmworks takes equity. And I think I've seen the growth of the industry. The industry has grown as far as that goes, but there's still a lot more work that we have to do. And I'm really excited about doing that work. Well, that starts with, reaching out to the community and finding people who really want to do the work. And we do. We've had workshops on the weekends, and this is voluntary stuff. It's not, it's something that we really want to do. And I think it's really important. It's very important to our communities. It's important to the film industry. It's important for business. It's important for economics. It's very important work. And so we're really happy to be here. There's a lot of things going on right now in Washington. The film industry has a buzz that you would not believe. And I think, bringing in more money for incentives has been a huge thing. And I just feel like, it's an opportunity for those who haven't had an opportunity to get into the film industry, because we're going to need the talent, right? We're going to need it. And it's an opportunity to get in on the ground floor. It's an opportunity to pop in there. If you've ever wanted to be in the film industry, and if you've ever wanted to succeed in the film industry, now is the time in Washington.
Yeah, and it's just a great, exciting time to be a filmmaker. And I think that this film community will expand, and it'll be inclusive, and that's very exciting. This bill has fundamentally changed Washington Filmworks. And historically, Washington Filmworks has been an organization that dealt with economic development. But this bill has changed the mission to a certain extent to also include workforce development, and also expanding the work of giving opportunities to emerging filmmakers, and fundamentally changing the makeup of our industry.
The Equity Committee is a committee that Washington Filmworks sought out to create as part of the diversity work. And we're charged basically to look at the policies of Washington Filmworks and make sure that those policies are created with an eye on diversity and inclusion. The committee, right now, we're in a beginning phase of the committee where we're developing a charter. However, it will be a committee. It won't just be us two. We're going to be co-chair of us. Doesn't make any sense. So, but we're looking to go out and reach out to the community and find above the line and below the line representation that is diverse and inclusive.
So Myra and I have been working on a charter for the Equity Committee, and the charter is basically the foundation of the work that we're doing. And we have an opportunity to create this charter for the first time once. And so we're trying to be thoughtful about it and intentional about it, but it will guide the work that we do.
I think the big picture goal for the industry, what I would like to see, and I think a lot of folks would agree with me on, is that we'd like to see the industry change as a whole. We'd like to see the industry, diversity is just natural. It's a natural thing, you know? People look at it, they don't really have to think about it. I think that would be wonderful. And it's a long road, I understand that. But I think, you know, the support from you folks out there, and it can happen.
In the upcoming year, our goal is to finish the charter and have the board approve it. After that, we'll be recruiting for the Equity Committee. And folks can stay involved and kind of follow what we're doing on social and through our email list.
Excellent. Anything that I didn't ask you want to bring in there?
This is the part where, like, if I was on the crew, I'd be going, I hope they say no. No, you didn't. Chris is like, no.
Hilarious. Okay. There you go, Malcolm and Myron. By the way, just watching that, I just want to thank the W again for their swanky sound suite, where the shots look amazing, and then of course the crew that made it all look pretty too. So Chris from Christopher Bell Inc., Eric from Rocket Sound Road, and Gaffer Warren Yeck. They were with us all day last Saturday, doing what you see tonight. So Julie, we heard from the Equity Committee. Can we talk about the Film Leadership Council?
Let's talk about the Film Leadership Council. So I would love to take this opportunity to introduce the Film Leadership Council, and in its newest form, affectionately known as the FLC, around our office. Specifically, I'm excited to introduce our co-chairs. So our co-chairs, Devontae Smith and Jeff Barehand, have some breaking news of their own. So let's hear what they have to say.
My name is Devontae Smith. Was from Spokane, grew up and raised there, but just recently moved over to Seattle. Typically in the film industry, I'm a PA on many movies and TV shows. Just recently had the opportunity to be a second AD/coordinator for a web series, which was pretty fun. Being that I'm the youngest person of the board, I feel like my perspective that I bring is, of course, from that emerging filmmaker side of things. I work with a lot of people my age and younger who are doing mostly commercial work, or they want to get into narrative and anything like that. So I feel like I can bring the perspective of the eyes and ears of that kind of generation.
My name is Jeff Barehand. I am CEO and president of Skybear Media, a video production company based out of Olympia, Washington. I bring a perspective. I work a lot with tribes, and tribes are very important in the economy of Washington State. It's really great to be inclusive of them, and well, to be inclusive of all people, and hopefully bring that perspective to the board, diversity, equity, inclusion, as a part of what we do at Filmworks.
Film Leadership Council is an advisory to the actual Washington Filmworks board. So they're able to, I want to say, workshop workshops. Basically, they're going to be the eyes and ears of the board, tackle a lot of the issues within certain things. So when it comes to workshops, initiatives, programs, anything like that, they're the ones that are able to run through that, and then me and Jeff are able to take it to the board as voting members and approve if we can.
Well, we've been really busy. Recently, a lot of our council members have cycled off our board during the pandemic. So that was our first order of business, is getting the group back together.
So we came together and decided with the old council members what they were looking for, what they were missing, what they needed. So we were to find, demographic-wise, fields even in and outside of the film industry is what we were looking for in these members. So those leadership councils, as well as some people of our board, gave some internal ideas for us to kind of follow through, and we have been interviewing those members to, fill our leadership council. And I thought the toughest part would be trying to find people, but the toughest part is picking them between all the applicants we have.
There's so much talent.
Yeah, so much talent.
So much talent out there.
All right, so me and Jeff are really excited to share the announcement of the new and upcoming Film Leadership Council members we have. There's 5 total that we have so far, but
that we've looked at.
Yeah, there's only 3 we can name. So.
3 we can name tonight, but 2 are on the way.
Yeah.
Really great people. So we have Bonnie Deshone, a Spokane-based actor represented by MAM, Crossbeam Talent, and Southwest Artist Group. She's also an associate professor of mathematics at Gonzaga University.
Carlos A. Ortiz, a writer, producer, director, and marketing guru. Carlos is also the chairman of Luna, a nonprofit based in Tacoma, Washington that helps underprivileged and underrepresented youth pursue professional careers.
Misael Martinez Mello, based out of Olympia, Washington. Misael is a media content producer, documentarist, and certified drone pilot. He also serves as the president of the Seattle Documentary Association.
So for 2023, the Film Leadership Council has a lot of different doors that have opened up, a lot of different things that we are kind of bringing to light and being aware of since we are filling those positions with the new Film Leadership Council members.
I think in 2023, it's so important for us to fill the spaces that we still need to fill for the Film Leadership Council. The Film Leadership Council is so important. And the reason why I want to fill these is because we are really an advisory board to Filmworks, and they listen to us. We're taking cross sections of Washington State and giving opportunity for the filmmakers in those areas, from rural areas, from urban areas, and bringing them together to look at the programming that Filmworks is implementing and giving advice.
So stay tuned with us in Washington Filmworks. There's a lot that's going to be rolled out in the near future. We will be having an open call for more Film Leadership Council members. So our first call was, of course, more internal, and this one we want to open it up to the public. So if you know anybody, please recommend them.
That's right, and also follow us on social. Sign up for our newsletter, and you can get more information about Film Leadership Council opportunities in the future.
So great to see them. They are working. It's like, and they're all voting members of the board. All of our, co-chairs are voting members of the board, representing the work of the committees. It's just another indication of the evolution of Filmworks. So,
Amy, we have breaking news. We have breaking news. So if you heard in there, Jeff and Devante said that we were waiting to hear from 2 more people. I can announce that we can announce 1 more member of the Film Leadership Council tonight. So Suni Haley has agreed to be on the Film Leadership Council. Suni is the former manager of the Co-Motion Labs at the University of Washington. She is now currently working on DEI and product inclusion at Epic Games. So welcome to all the new members. Yay!
Members, lots of new faces and voices and opportunities in those committees. So that's great. So, Julie, we have been talking a lot tonight about incentive things and things like that. I kind of want to shift the conversation now to talk about the film office. When I talk about the film office, I always talk about how it's an underserved conversation. You know, for those that don't know, all of the resources under the Film Office umbrella are totally free. Our job is to answer the phone and solve problems, for example, or recruit projects. You would be surprised at how many projects we get into the state of Washington just because we, pick up the phone and help them solve their problems. But, we have the location database, we have the production directory, we have staff members. And it's all free. So even if you're a resident filmmaker, you are welcome to take advantage of all that.
Mm-hmm.
With that, the Film Office is staffed by two dynamic, I call them the dynamic duo. It is Sherry Wyatt, who is our new Director of Rural Economic Development, and Vicki Berglund Davenport, who has now been with us for a year. It's amazing. And has been in the film industry. She has been such a gift to the organization, just bringing her, I won't say how many years, but many years of production experience to Filmworks. And we're going to have them come in and tell their, give an update about what they're doing. But before we allow them to tell you what they're doing, we want to show you what they've been doing behind the scenes. And so we have a behind the scenes clip of an HBO film or HBO series called The Sex Lives of College Girls that filmed here in the spring. And, it's all because we picked up the phone and got him here. So I want to thank Winfield Azell, who produced this with his team at Obsidian Creative. And here is a little example of what we do at the Film Office.
Are we speeding? Yes. Roll cameras and action.
This is sort of in the voices of these four young women who are incredibly different, learning through their experiences what it is to become a human being. But it just happens to have a really cool, radical name that people are like, ooh, I'm gonna watch that.
Initially, it was the buildings. The buildings are gorgeous, they're old. When they got here and saw it in person, it just solidified their belief that, and actually they wrote a lot more to the exterior than had originally planned just because it's so beautiful.
We've shot at our oldest building, which is Denny Hall. We've shot at a lot of the buildings that have kind of that collegiate Gothic architecture style. So Miller Art, Music, Architecture Hall, Physics Building, Mary Gates Hall, Johnson Hall. So they've really covered a lot of campus.
We have supplemented the crews with grip, electric, hair, makeup, costumers that are from Seattle area. Background actors, we've averaged 140 people a day.
Washington Filmworks kind of brings that larger perspective about how do we engage with the state, how do we engage with the film community in the state. Having somebody here who understood the film industry and what our needs are made it a whole lot easier for us to be able to come here. It's just such a help for us here at the UW to have that resource.
I think it's a no-brainer to become greater partners because it's been such a good experience.
How did you like that? That was a little sneak peek behind the scenes of a show that shot here this summer. My name is Vicki Berglund Davenport. I am the Film Office Production Services Manager for Washington Filmworks.
Hi, my name is Sherry Wyatt, and I'm the Director of Rural Economic Development at Washington Filmworks. And I'm really new. This is a new position, but I'm not new to being a film liaison. So I'll be working with film liaisons in this new job, but I was a film liaison, and I come from a rural community. In fact, I grew up on a farm, still have the family farm, and I've lived in rural counties just about all of my life. So what we're doing right now is just reaching out and learning from film liaisons in rural counties, kind of what they need and what are some of the challenges and opportunities, so we can make sure there's more film happening in those rural communities.
The thing that motivates me most about the greater good and working for that and working with and for Filmworks is to be able to make sure that jobs are available for the people that I have worked in the trenches with for so very long. I also want to make sure that economic impact is felt in this state. I also want to make sure that our beautiful locations are featured and the production value is up on the screen. The Film Office is a free resource for anyone in the film industry, anyone who has a camera lens, basically.
So we reached out to film liaisons and community contacts, throughout the state to find out what's on their mind. What did they think were the barriers for why maybe there hadn't been more film in the rural communities? And also, what are some of the assets they have that maybe film productions don't know about? And then what are some of the things that they wish film knew, they could change? So one of the things that came back is they would love to know more about best practices and how to work with film productions. They're really interested in finding out how to market their destination more, and then also how to just work within their own community to kind of create more of a positive culture for film so that it's more of a welcoming thing for, it's like a part of the culture and the economy, and that it's even worked into what that community stands for, that, the arts in that community are more better promoted, so to say. So those are some of the things we learned, and some of the tools to reach out and make these things happen is like a toolkit online. And Vicki, you're already working on some of those things. Do you mind just telling us more about what you've got going?
I'd be happy to. Real Scout is our location database and our production directory. Production directory, you can list yourself in. It's a free resource. Please do that. The location database, with the new enhanced rural incentive that the board just approved, I think that people who are wanting to either write their film or set their film in the rural counties will be able to look through the database and know what counties they could get that enhanced incentive.
Great.
So we are doing a list your project. This is in the works. It is really important because this is a moment in time where we have $15 million in incentive. What that means is some responsibility in reporting. And so we want to make sure, I know everybody thinks that we know everything that's filming everywhere and the economic impact, but we don't. And we really want to. We really want to. And so we feel that this List Your Project, it has 3 touch points. List your project initially. We follow up to see if there's any behind the scenes photos or stories from set that you want to share. And there is also a follow-up for a wrap report. So that's what we think is going to help in making sure that we are reporting how many projects and how much money is left in the state. 2023 is going to be incredible for this industry. It's an amazing time to be a filmmaker right now, and I couldn't be more honored to be working for the filmmakers, working for the people that work with those filmmakers, and for the communities that those filmmakers film in.
Imagine. Yep. Imagine what we can do together.
I mean, I just love those two ladies. I mean, imagine what they're going to do together. It's pretty amazing. Thanks to Kirk Nordenstrom, who from Media Without Borders, although many of us know him from the 48-Hour Film Festival, he actually edited all this footage in like 3 short days. So thank you to him for helping us all sound so eloquent. So I always like to take a moment in the evening to acknowledge the fact that Julie and I are often the folks, and me most of the time, talking to the industry. But we have the great honor and privilege of working with a fierce group of women. They are smart, and competent, and talented. And what I think I love most about them is that they're as passionate about this work as I am, which I hope that says a lot to this community. And I want to name them because they're working on your behalf every day. So Vicky, Kaylee, Sherry, Julie B, Hong Mei, and Julie Damon. Now we have a Julie B and a Julie D. But I'm very much looking forward to crushing it with you guys in 2023. And because we have so many new faces at Washington Filmworks, we wanted to introduce them to you in this very short video.
Hello from the Washington Filmworks team. I'm here with some of our newest members. I wanted to give them an opportunity to introduce themselves to everyone and tell us what their favorite wintry or holiday movie is. Kaylee, why don't you kick it off?
Hi, my name is Kaylee Oakes, and I am in the Spokane area of Washington. So I'm the East Side team member. I am the executive assistant to Amy Lillard, the executive director. And in my role, I'm responsible for maintaining schedules, tracking projects, and making sure that everyone's where they're supposed to be. My favorite holiday movie is The Shining. My husband and I watch it every year, and although it's not very holiday-y, it is very snowy, so it feels appropriate.
That's great. Hong Mei.
Hello, my name is Hong Mei Lee. I'm the financial controller to Washington Filmworks. I'm a brand new staff and I'm honored to serve the organization. Before joining the team, I manage operational accounting for multiple nonprofit organizations. Now I work closely with Julie. My job is to conduct and manage financial activities. My favorite movie is A Christmas Story. That is the way people remember Christmas as a kid.
It's a classic. Julie.
Hi, I'm Julie Borden. I've been with Washington Filmworks for about 3 months now, and I'm coming to you from my new home in Tennessee. Previous to Washington Filmworks, I worked for about 10 years at the Office of Film and Music at the City of Seattle. And here at Washington Filmworks, I am working on many projects behind the scenes in administration and operations. I'm making sure that our data is wrangled as best it can be, and that we make use of digital tools to improve our workflows and increase our capacity to serve the film community. My favorite winter holiday movie is Rare Exports. It's a Finnish film that I stumbled across a few years ago, and it's part horror, part action, and it has some dark humor, and I do recommend it highly.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm excited for the year ahead. And now I'll kick it back to Amy.
By the way, an eclectic group of holiday movies there. Welcome to the staff of Washington Filmworks, an eclectic and interesting group of people. So as we close out this evening, I hope that you feel what we feel, which is it's just an incredible and exciting time for the film industry. There's so many new opportunities, and you know, we're leading the country with a lot of our equity work as well, which is very exciting. And we're excited about building with you, building with this community. As we part ways this evening, we wanted to pause and reflect on the incredible work that you, the film industry, does, and the work that Washington Filmworks has had the privilege of sharing in with you and supporting. And you know, I want to shout out Chris Boosted with First Sight Productions for putting this new trailer together. It's been a long time since we've dug into our archives. We have supported over 132 projects. And this new trailer is shouting out so much love to this community. So happy holidays to everyone. And we look forward to seeing you and crushing it in 2023.
Hi, my name is Chris Boosted, and I am the editor of the montage you're about to see. I've been a filmmaker and educator in Washington for over 20 years, working with people all over the world, and it is an honor to show off just a fraction of what our state is capable of. how profoundly beautiful Washington is, from the ocean to the mountains and the desert and the forest and everything in between, how talented our cast and crew are, and how supportive this community is. Whether it's individual filmmakers or state and local municipalities, it is incredible how welcoming and inclusive Washington is. Thank you to everyone who made films here for creating such wonderful work, and thank you to Washington Filmworks for trusting me with this. I love making films here, and I want everyone else to love making films here too. I cannot wait to see the future of film in Washington.
Action.